This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. When we were deciding on our appliances for the house, Samsung was at the top of our list. And I love my Samsung appliances, especially because they're so reliable. And with my busy schedule, having reliable appliances has been a game changer. It's no wonder Samsung is the #1 brand for customer satisfaction. That's why I'm excited to tell you all about Samsung's new line of smart appliances featuring their brand new bespoke AI laundry combo. This incredible magic machine washes and dries in one machine, one load, no transfers, no timers, no rewashing needed. New bespoke AI appliances. This is home living made simple. For more information, visit samsung.com/bespoke.
68-minute cycle based on 27-inch combos, based on using a super speed cycle only with a 10-pound DOE load, cotton 50% plus polyester 50%. Individual results may vary based on actual load content.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Mall of America's mystery cards are back, and we are bringing them to you all summer long. Come grab yours at KFAN events throughout the summer and wherever you see our KFAN street team. Then make sure to redeem them at Mall of America for fun prizes and big discounts. See full list of events at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Are you sure Bonus had the right day?
He'll be here. He always comes in last minute.
Do I have the right John Bonus? I decided to do a little research. I was going to ask him when he came in, and I'm still going to ask him. I want to see if you know. He was a math teacher at Northfield High School, and he coached soccer.
I did not know that.
Is that the right John Bonus? Because I just Googled John Bonus, and the name popped up, KFAN, and it said math teacher.
Huh.
At Northfield High at one time. Then he coached soccer as well. We'll see when he comes in. There are a number of things I want to ask him about the Twins, specifically, and just Major League Baseball in general. I went to the Saints game, I think I mentioned Tennessee, on Friday night to watch the Louisville Bats take on the St. Paul Saints. Here's John Bonus. He has arrived. Now, yes! I have a question for you. So I decided to do a little research. Are you the same John Bonus that was a math teacher at Northfield High and a soccer coach?
I was.
I was.
And where did you do this research?
I just did a little Google search and it popped up. That,
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm telling the truth. The whole
Because this was long before Google existed.
Well,
this was 10 years before Google existed.
They know of you.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Christy found a picture. So we 2 weeks ago, the public storage place where we keep a bunch of our stuff from where we moved from the house to the condo, we probably filled up a 5x5 room in there with all kinds of crap that we didn't need in the condo. We probably never need for the rest of our life, but Christy just couldn't throw it away. we just couldn't throw it away for whatever reason. And so we found out the public storage facility in which we had said stuff had a fire about 2 weeks ago.
No.
And unfortunately, none of our stuff burned.
Give him a ring.
But what it did do is we had to clear all that stuff out there and put it to, they've got to clean that floor now. It was on our floor, just didn't involve our actual stuff. And so what we need to do now is clean out that public storage space. And so Chrissy started going through stuff. And one of the things she found in there was a picture of me coaching soccer when I was 23 years old, coaching JV soccer at Northfield High School. And I took a look at me and the 16-year-olds that I was teaching and realizing all those 16-year-olds are also over 50 right now. Yeah. I was only like 7 years older than them, and I'm in my late 50s. I'm like, good Lord, I am really old.
Was soccer your first love, or?
I love playing soccer. I played soccer all the way through college, and then, coached it in high school. I think part of the reason I ended up getting a job, a part-time math teaching job at Northfield High School is because they needed a JV soccer coach. And so that's why I ended up doing it. Yeah. I liked soccer a lot. I watched, yesterday in between watching school just mow down the Twins lineup or something, I kept clicking over to the USMNT, U.S. men's game yesterday versus Costa Rica to see how they were holding up. They ended up winning in penalty kicks. So, I still enjoy watching soccer. I don't follow Minnesota United probably as closely as I should. But I hear things on it.
I'd rather talk baseball than soccer.
I thought you might.
And so that's what we'll do. And I tend to be asked me a question in a segment we do at the top of the 1 o'clock hour every day. And the only reason we do it is because we were told you have to have some kind of a segment that is what was the word they used to be? It's like
alternate.
Well, no, it's like it's like a way station. It's there all the time, right?
Okay.
It's something that people can depend on and count on.
Appointment listening.
And so
that's your golf game? Is that what we're talking?
So Barrero was doing what did he do? The top 5 at 5 for the longest time.
Yep.
I don't know if he still does.
Sure.
Does he still do the top 5 at 5?
Power Trip does Fan 5.
Yeah, and so
you guys do your 5, 3, 4.
So we did 5, 3, 4. One of the questions he asked me was, what did I take from the series? What were my thoughts?
Okay.
My takeaways.
Benchmark segment is what I've been told.
Benchmark. That's what it is. Benchmark segment. Segments between, or what did I take away from the Twin series with the Tigers? And he had several, was it A? Was it B? Was it C? Was it D? One he didn't have listed that I said I took away more than anything was how far much further along the Detroit baseball team is than the Minnesota baseball team is. I've not watched Detroit all year. I remember them from last year. And I know how good Skubal is. That would be first and foremost, he has to be the best pitcher in baseball. When Ohtani's pitching at his best, I know he's had some issues, but there's nobody better than Skubal right now.
He won the Cy Young last year, and he's
probably going to win it again.
Certainly one of the favorites.
Yeah.
Yep.
That team, top to bottom, they're loaded. I mean, they've got theirs, and I looked. I decided I Googled how many homegrown players do they have on their MLB roster, and they have plenty of them. Yeah. So do the Twins. Yeah, the Twins have them too. But you look at those names for Detroit, and a lot of youth, a lot of key players, and
they've been
waiting.
They've been waiting for them to break through, and they definitely have. The hitting has finally come around this year, and Skubal has been amazing. You're right.
They have an 11.5 game lead, and I know there are plenty of playoff spots. If this was back in the olden days where it was just you won the American League pennant or you didn't win the American League pennant, teams like the Twins, their season would be over already. Yes. Right? It'd be done. There's no chance you're going to do it. But of course, because of the wild card, you're still in it. But they seem to be night and day difference. Not that the Twins don't have talent and such, but just the direction their seasons are going. Those are two completely different teams. That Tigers looks as good as any team in the league, if not the best team.
Well, and I mean, it does. It's not. I mean, the team is definitely one thing. I mean, but really, the organizations feel the same way as well. They last night Sunday Night Baseball standing room only crowd.
Yes.
At Comerica Park, and Saturday, the excitement and just environment around the Tigers this year are like that. It's reminiscent, I would say, of the Twins of 2019. Hey, this is it. We've finally after years of waiting, we finally sort of broke through, and this is the year we're really going to show everybody how good we are. And we've got a couple of really big stars, and who are doing things that you don't get to see. But once you don't get back-to-back Cy Young type years very often.
No,
I mean. So you get that from that entire organization, and and you also get it from that team. And I would suggest that a lot of the issues that we see going on with the Twins right now, kind of being stuck in like a racing through Jell-O, it feels like, on a regular basis. You can see that all the way up through the organization, starting all the way up to ownership. Ownership to management to coaching to players. And that doesn't mean that people aren't trying or they're not playing, but there is just a force field around this team that makes it so that they just don't feel like they can do much of anything to really impact or alter the way this season is going.
Scooble's not the first to do it, but there was one. I watched much of the game last night. Picked it up around 7:00, and he had a one hitter.
You didn't click over to USMNT?
No. I watched. The Scooble guy. I think I've talked enough about this. I love pitching. That's what I like about baseball. I like pitching. I mean, I want some offense. I'm not saying I cringe at the idea of a 5-4 ball game, but I like watching the art of pitching. And he came off the mound one time. It was like an 8-pitch inning or something like that. And the way he looked at the dugout, he kind of gave like a wink or a nod or kind of a big smile, like to the guys in the dugout. Like, it's just like he knows what he just knows he's at his peak performance right now. It was such a brilliant performance last night. I just really, even though it was against the Twins, you couldn't help it. Even Paddock mentioned about it. He was brilliant. Paddock, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, now Paddock says, I live for these moments. I wished I would have pitched a little bit better because I love going toe to toe with a guy like that. And Paddock really wasn't that bad.
He wasn't.
I mean, he got hit for a couple of home runs but otherwise, he pitched pretty well. But that was the kind of ball game I liked. That was a lot of fun. But Scooble was just too much for the Twins. Do we end up with 3 hits altogether? Did we?
2, I think.
Hits,
maybe 2 hits, 13 strikeouts.
2, yeah.
I know that. I mean, Scooble by himself had 13 strikeouts.
Yeah.
What was I thought most impressive about the Scooble outing was, and most depressing from the Twins standpoint, is just how many times they were chasing pitches which were nowhere near this. I don't know if that changeup turns invisible or something like that, but it was high fastballs above the zone which you have no shot at, changeups low and away that they have no shot at. So many of those. I mean, I think all but one of those 13 strikeouts was swinging strikeouts. They were not guessing wrong on a ball that was in the zone. They were swinging at these pitches, and I would love to go back and take a look and say, I bet you 11 of those 13 or 10 of those 12 swinging strikeouts were on pitches that were not in the zone. Yeah, they just could not keep track of what he was doing. They were so fooled by that, especially that changeup, which I think got the vast majority of those strikeouts, that they just didn't know where it was. It was nowhere near where they thought it was going to end up being. So,
is he on a level above everybody else? Is it Scooble and the rest? Or are there? I mean, and again, maybe I'm idolizing and pedestalizing this guy too much, but from what I saw last year and what I saw last night, I don't see a lot of that in the big leagues, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I mean, at this point in the season, you're always going to have a few other contenders for the AL Cy Young. Hunter Brown, I think, at the Astros has been awfully good. I don't know, take a look at his stats and see what he's at. I know he's been one of those contenders. I think most of the Texas Rangers starting staff is, could gain some votes for the Cy Young Award at this point. So, but I mean, he's a back-to-back Cy Young candidate. I mean, that's by itself, that puts you in elite airs. Like, the Twins haven't had anybody like that since Johan Santana. We know how different he was from everybody that they'd seen. And by the way, similar in that left-hander who knew how to throw a changeup that fooled everybody. So, it was impressive. I mean, to me, that wasn't even though that was the swing game in the series, that wasn't the swing game in the series. The swing game in the series was game 2.
Yeah.
The Twins stole game 1 and did a nice job in game 1. David Festa coming back with an outing that we needed to see from David Festa. Then Bailey Ober comes back the next day and does what Bailey Ober has been doing in June, which is getting smashed.
Well, and that's why take a deep dive in the Twins, plenty of topics to get to. So I got a number of questions regarding the Twins to get to. So we'll do that. John Bonus in studio with us. It's Twins Daily and Gleeman and the Geek fame. We'll come back after this, but right now Tennessee has a keyword for us, I believe.
Yes, I do. The fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword bank at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is bank. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity. With Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance, it keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. I love my Samsung appliances, especially because they're so reliable. And with my busy schedule, having reliable appliances has been a game changer. It's no wonder Samsung is the #1 brand for customer satisfaction. That's why I'm excited to tell you all about Samsung's new line of smart appliances featuring their brand new bespoke AI laundry combo. This incredible magic machine washes and dries in one machine, one load, no transfers, no timers, no re-washing needed. You just toss in your dirty clothes and they go from dirty to dry in as little as 68 minutes. It simplifies your entire laundry routine. Plus, you can remotely schedule cycles from your phone so you have fresh clothes ready when you are. New bespoke AI appliances. This is home living made simple. For more information, visit samsung.com/bespoke.
68-minute cycle based on 27-inch combos, based on using a super speed cycle only with a 10-pound DOE load. Cotton 50% plus polyester 50%. Individual results may vary based on actual load content. SmartThings app available on Android and iOS devices. Wi-Fi connection and Samsung account required.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryan text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
John Bonus with us here in studio on the Common Man program. I'm Common, he is Tennessee. Talking Twins baseball. When you talk Twins, I think first and foremost, for me, it's Byron Buxton.
Oh, my.
You look at Byron's individual statistics, and he's the team leader in batting average, home runs, RBI, and on-base percentage.
Sure.
He is...
Stolen bases.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how adept he really is. Is he 20 for 20 this year?
He's 15 for 15 this year. Yes.
And I think maybe it was going back to last year. He rarely gets, he'd be a great thief. He barely ever gets caught.
We had a long discussion about this on the Patreon version of Gleeman of the Geek today. So Buxton, I guess, apparently of anybody who has stolen at least 100 bases in their career, he's the only player in Major League Baseball history with 100 stealing who's got a 90% success rate.
That's the number I saw.
Something like that.
Yeah. Right? I mean, you think about that. You think of all the great base stealers. I go back to Ty Cobb. back in the olden days. As a matter of fact, for decades, he had more stolen bases in a single season than any other player in Major League Baseball. I think, was that number like 96, I think was the number?
Yeah, I thought it was even over 100.
No, I think it was 96, and I think Maury Wills broke it in the early to mid-60s with 104. And then eventually Ricky Henderson started stealing like 9,000 bases a year, or he ended up being I think he is the career stolen base leader. Yes. But it seems like I don't know if I don't pay as close attention to baseball as I once did, so I don't know if the stolen base is like a lost art form. It doesn't seem like maybe you could speak to that. Do teams steal as many bases, or does it depend on the team or the aggressiveness?
There's been a lot of factors in the rise and fall of stealing bases, right? The most recent rise is they changed the rules a little bit to make it easier to steal bases, right? They made the bases slightly bigger, which means the distance between them is a little bit less. And they've also, limited the number of times that you can throw to first base or throw to any base to sort of check the runner, right? So that's been something that has helped recently. Other factors that have happened, certainly the science behind stopping stolen bases increased tremendously. And I think one of the big finds was the pitcher has a lot to do with whether or not you steal the base and sort of their time to home plate. A long discussion with Deshaun Kersey last weekend about, when you are, as he is, put in as a pinch runner and everybody in the park knows that your job is to steal a base, what are all the factors that go into that? And, a lot of the times it's, in particular, there was a case where I think versus Cincinnati, he got thrown out on a bang play, and the truth is that they reviewed it and they didn't confirm that he was out, but they didn't overturn that he was out. I mean, it was that close, right? But now he's 5 for 8 instead of 6 for 8, and that's the difference really between a successful base stealer and a not successful. That's another thing that has changed, is that gradually Major League Baseball started to recognize, giving up outs on caught stealing is a lot more hurtful than gaining a base by stealing a base. You need to be able to steal basically 3 bases for every once you're caught. And if you're not doing that, you're hurting the team. They've started valuing those, not giving away those outs. And then another thing that hurt it is their offense was just up. Like, you don't need to steal bases the way you did in the 60s. In the 60s, it's hard to score a run. You steal a base, that means a lot.
Yeah.
Here, now when you've got home runs flying out of the park, why are you messing around with stolen bases? You can trot home from first base the same way you can trot home from second base or third base on a home run.
That makes sense.
So all of these things have played into the point where it's a question about whether, and I would actually say one of the things that is making Buxton more valuable this year, maybe even than he is perceived nationally, although we talked a little bit about, I think he would get MVP votes this year. I suggested maybe as high as 3rd. Aaron thought it was probably closer to 5th that he would get if the season ended today. When you've got an offense that is having trouble scoring runs, like the Twins, who, again, with Detroit scored 9 runs over 3 games, that's about 3 runs per game. Like, that's been happening way too often with this team. Well, then, if you have trouble with the rest of the lineup scoring runs, it becomes more valuable to go and swipe second base, give them multiple chances to drive you in from second. You need 1 hit to score that run instead of 2 hits to score that run if he's standing on second base. And in fact, I would suggest that part of the Twins' turnaround from their early season doldrums was both Buxton and, at the time, Luke Keeschel figuring out, we need to start stealing some bases. Like, we need to start giving this. We need to be aggressive in other ways. We can't sit and wait for the, double off the wall or the home run into the left field bleachers, because we don't really have those hitters right now. This is not the Bomba squad of 2019. So all of those things go into that's a long way of saying that there's a reason stolen base totals go up and down over the last 40 or 50 years. And it's not like, they don't know the art of the stolen base anymore. I think there's probably more science and more thought into how to steal or not steal that base than there ever has been before. It's just that sometimes it's more valuable and sometimes it's less valuable.
Is Buxton's health the number one reason why he is playing so well? Because we know he has struggled his entire career to stay on the field. The most games I think he ever played in a season was like 140 once, and I'd be hard-pressed to find another time he was in for 100 games.
Right.
But he is also playing the kind of baseball that everybody expected from when he first came up. Everybody said, this is the kind of guy you're going to get. He's doing it now. Offense, defense, special teams, the whole thing.
Yeah. If you take a look at his overall numbers, like his rate numbers, his slugging percentage, his OPS, batting average, etc., on-base percentage, they've been pretty good every year.
Okay.
It's just that he wasn't on the field for very much of those years, right? That he, when he's playing 90 games a year instead of, or 70 games a year. I mean, he's on pace. He's only played 100 games in his career twice.
Okay. Once
was 2017 and once was last year, which he was mostly healthy and then ended up out the last month and a half, basically, with, I think, a hamstring, if I remember correctly, right? They was dealing with. Well, yeah, he's been really healthy, and we're seeing, numbers like he has not put up before. But the truth is that he was good for a 800 to 900 OPS, even those years that he was hurt. It was just that when he's playing, 60 games, you're not going to see the big numbers that you're seeing. Now he's not only putting up those big numbers, but he's just in the lineup every day. The only times he's really missed is the
concussion.
The concussion for 2 weeks when he and Correa ran into each other and gave each other concussions, which is just the most twinsy thing ever. And then the time that he left for family matter for a couple of days. But other than that, he not only has been playing, he's been playing center field.
Yeah,
he hasn't been DHing. He has. They are not trying to protect him, and he's not trying to protect him. Ever since he got that knee surgery that fixed basically a flap in his knee, a piece of his knee that was then and got it out of there before the 2024 season, we saw him show up at spring training in 2024 with so much a lightness about him that made you understand just how much pain he had been playing in 2022 and 2023. When, 2023, Michael A. Taylor was supposed to be the backup center fielder, and basically Buxton didn't play center field that entire season because they were trying to figure out some way to play healthy, and he's just trying to figure out some way to play through pain for 85 games, which is what he played that year. Now we're seeing him be healthy and making the plays in center field and hitting a bunch of home runs and even stealing bases. I mean, it's fun to watch. I hope people who have waited for this moment from Byron Buxton all the way back to like 2013 and 2014 when he was like back-to-back, number one prospect in the minor leagues. And we were waiting for this guy. And we've been waiting 10 years for him to have a season where he's really healthy and showing us what he can do. I hope you're out there enjoying this right now because not only do you have him, not only do you get to watch it, you get to watch him on a relatively affordable contract because he's never had a season like this before.
Well, but before we go to break and come back with one more segment and talk a bit more about the Twins with you, I've received text messages over the past week or so from people saying, boy, with where the Twins are record-wise and how tough it's going to be to still even grab a wild card spot, and even if you do, there's something I wonder if the Twins should entertain thoughts about trading Buxton. Do you think that's
you've got to understand that he's got a no-trade clause.
Okay.
Right? So, and I've never heard Buxton express any interest in leaving Minnesota to the point where he signed a long-term deal with the Minnesota for probably below market value at this point. Now, would he consider waiving that if the new team was competitive and, had a chance to win a World Series and added some money to that contract that he signed, which has got 3-4 years left on it? I don't think anybody's asked him that, or at least not asked him that publicly. Right. But I know he loves playing for Minnesota. He's expressed that on a regular basis. I don't think he personally has any interest in leaving. And so I think that answers the question. If there is an opening, I'm sure there'll be plenty of takers for him.
We'll pause. We'll come back. One more segment to go with John Bonus. We're talking Twins baseball right here on The Fan.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors. For the next era of gaming, upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. I love my Samsung appliances, especially because they're so reliable. And with my busy schedule, having reliable appliances has been a game changer. It's no wonder Samsung is the #1 brand for customer satisfaction. That's why I'm excited to tell you all about Samsung's new line of smart appliances featuring their brand new bespoke AI laundry combo. This incredible magic machine washes and dries in one machine, one load, no transfers, no timers, no re-washing needed. You just toss in your dirty clothes and they go from dirty to dry in as little as 68 minutes. It simplifies your entire laundry routine. Plus, you can remotely schedule cycles from your phone so you have fresh clothes ready when you are. New bespoke AI appliances. This is home living made simple. For more information, visit samsung.com/bespoke.
68-minute cycle based on 27-inch combos, based on using a super speed cycle only with a 10-pound DOE load, cotton 50% plus polyester 50%. Individual results may vary based on actual load content. SmartThings app available on Android and iOS devices. Wi-Fi connection and Samsung account required.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
Ever notice your dog slowing down and having health issues and wonder, what can I do to make them better? Well, my friend, add Rough Greens to your dog's food for 90 days and I guarantee you'll see changes that will amaze you. Greetings. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, inventor of Rough Greens here, and I invite you to give your pup the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. In the first 30 days, you'll see shinier coats and increased energy. By day 60, your dog will have a stronger immune system, less shedding, improved joint function, all due to the live nutrients that you've added to their diet. And at 90 days, better digestion, reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and you may even have reduced their cancer risk. Fetch your dog a free Jumpstart trial bag today. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. That's TRYRUFF. Go to tryroughgreens.com. Use promo code TRYROUGH. You discover the shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
Segment of the day in the Common Man program. Tenneby, remind me, Russo in right next.
Russo's in, 3 to 6:30.
He's in from 3 to 6:30. In for Dan Barrero. JG is also out today. John Bonus in studio talking about the Twins. An optimistic Twins fan to start the season would say, hey, we have a pretty good everyday lineup if everybody stays healthy and if Lewis can, stay off the injury list and Buxton and the starting staff looks real nice and the bullpen's good, we could have a nice season. They were in it up until the last month of the season. I mean, they were leading the division and then they ended up, they grabbed a wild card. No. Did we grab a wild card?
We did not.
Yeah, we did not. That's
we managed to lose a wild card over the last 6 weweeks.
Yeah, that's right. It was the other three of the other 5 teams, the other 4 teams in the division that got the wild card. And you did like the starter. Pablo Lopez has been a very good starter. Joe Ryan's been coming into his own. Bailey Ober, we've had a couple of nice seasons out of him. We had Simeon Woods Richardson. Paddock seemed to be that guy they still felt had a pretty good opportunity. Some young kids in the system with Matthews and Festa And now the pitching staff looks like it might be the weakest part of the, with Pablo out at least through August,
Right.
maybe not back until September. Joe Ryan was really good his last outing.
Yes, he's been very good.
Yeah, he's been very good. But what's happened to Bailey Ober?
Yeah, well, we don't know exactly what's happened to Bailey Ober. He's had as bad a month as one can probably have and stay in a rotation. And part of that is due, to be fair, to the equity that he has built up within this organization. But also it has something to do with the fact that what was a very, very deep list of potential starters has now been whittled down to the point where we don't really have an option to replace him. There is no obvious person sitting in AAA or available, on the waiver wire or available in trade that they could use to replace Bailey Ober. He talked briefly, maybe 2-3 starts ago. He'd been talking for a while about how his mechanics were messed up. Well, he talked about 2-3 starts ago, mentioned a hip problem that he's been dealing with. And it's something that he's just going to have to manage through this season. He thinks it's affecting his mechanics. It also appears to be impacting his velocity. His velocity was down several times in his starts in June. It's gone back up a little bit, but it's still not, still in the, by down, I mean like below 90 miles per hour. And that's a dangerous place to live. And by back to normal, it's maybe 91, 92, but it's nowhere near like the 93, 94, which when he's at the most effective, or 92, 93, that he's most effective. So, we're wondering how much of this has to do with sort of hip problem he has. Is it something where if he gets a little bit of a break around the All-Star break, he can kind of rediscover himself? And then there's also the question, Zebby Matthews has been out for a couple weeks now, or about a month now, with his own shoulder problem that was going on, but it was a mild one. He's been back on a throwing program. We're wondering how quickly he can be on a rehab assignment, and if he does come back on a rehab assignment, and they need to find room for somebody in the rotation, or need to find room for him in the rotation, is it possible that Bailey Ober gets put on the IL to deal with this hip problem, or do they try and stick with him and send somebody back down like Simeon Woods-Richardson to AAA? The truth is that Simeon Woods-Richardson has had 3 pretty good starts in a row here. David Festa's most recent start was very good, although the 2 before that were not very good. Mm-hmm. But, they've got Lopez out. They've got Matthews out. Turns out their number 8 guy available in the rotation in St. Paul, Andrew Morris, just got put on the IL with a forearm strain, which is always a little bit scary. A lot of the veteran, pitching depth they might have had down there, Randy Dobnik, that type of person, or a couple of the other rookies that we were kind of looking to see how they develop, Marco Raya, Corey Lewis, they haven't really been performing well. So it's, there aren't a lot of great options to replace them with. So the fact that Bailey Ober thinks he can manage this and work his way through it is good, because there isn't really another obvious option to replace him with right now. Other than Jonah Bride, who has been the 9th man in the rotation. Or the 9th guy in the bullpen.
Yeah,
yes.
Jonah's pitched, what did I see? 6 times he's now?
I think it was 5.
That's a lot of times for a position player to mop up duty.
And to be, to his credit, he did that. That is position players might like taking that ball the first or second time they get that chance. Nobody wants to be called on it 5 times in a month to clean up, because frankly, the back end of the Twins bullpen has been pretty brutal. Those arms that the Twins have as big a gap between sort of their top 5 relievers and their bottom 3 relievers as any major league team I've seen. And as a result of that, on the one hand, they're pretty good at hanging on to like a 1-run lead. You've got as much confidence in them as most teams have in protecting a 1-run lead. But once they fall back by 2 or 3 runs, it can quickly turn into a 5-2 game can turn into an 11-2 game, because they don't have a lot of faith in those guys. But now Jonah Bride's going to be gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's been DFA'd. I don't know if that means he would report to St. Paul if nobody picks him up. But it's also possible he leaves and goes to another organization, and that's because Royce Lewis is supposed to be back, we think, tomorrow night.
Before we talk about Royce, I did see where Phil Miller wrote today, or maybe it was yesterday, the headline, Twins take closer look at Bailey Ober's trouble, reveals some things the team is not revealing. Pete Mackey says, the pitching coach says, we found some things, other teams read the media, and if we're going to make a change usages or locations, that's not something I'm going to share.
Right.
You know, we know oftentimes pitchers will tip off what they're doing. The Twins say that is not the case here. They say there are experts that look at those things for teams, and they say there's nothing he's doing that would lead them. And they go, hey, guess what? A screwball's coming next.
Well, now those experts include AI.
Right,
where they end up feeding, 200 videos of a pitcher throwing, going through his windup and asking the computer, like, what are you seeing that is happening between his fastball and his changeup or something like that? There's been speculation on Ober plenty of times that he's occasionally tipping pitches on some things. That's when he kept running into problems throughout his career versus Kansas City. And that's happened a few times. I don't know what his career ERA is against Kansas City, but it's bad. That was the thought process was they've got something on him that they're not sharing, and therefore that's why he always seems to struggle against them. I think specifically with Ober, the Twins were seeing some swings outside the zone that were doing damage. That normally like if you're just reacting to a pitch, you wouldn't swing at it. If you're looking for a pitch and the fact that it's close enough to the zone to go for it, and then they do some damage and get a good swing on it, that made them think that there's something being tipped. So there is some concern about that. We had a long discussion about this, I think, on Friday's Gleeman of the Geek podcast. We're talking about tipping pitches, where I also heard about a minor league Twins prospect a while back who was tipping his pitches. They figured out he was tipping his pitches between fastball and something off speed. And it was because he chews gum on the mound. And when he was chewing, if he's chewing his gum, it's a fastball. And if he's not chewing his gum, it was going to be off speed. And I laughed at it. I laughed at it as well. And I started asking about it. And what I heard was that's actually not as uncommon as you think, because pitchers have to concentrate more when they're throwing their off-speed stuff, right? Fastball, they can just wing it.
Yeah.
They don't have to think about it. Everybody's thrown a fastball since they were young. But getting the feel just right is like, trying to get just the right spin on a bowling. You're concentrating a little bit more on it. And so it's not necessarily chewing gum. Like you're chewing gum because you're just going to throw a fastball. You're not chewing gum because you're thinking about about whatever you're going to throw, right? And he says, and you're chewing gum is one example of that, but there's a lot of examples like that. There are pitchers when they are concentrating more, and when they're concentrating more, it's probably because they're trying to throw a pitch they're not as comfortable with, and that usually means an off-speed pitch. So start looking for off-speed pitches. A lot of pitchers have some sort of tell in how they kind of get ready to throw one of those pitches that just means I'm concentrating more.
You mentioned Royce Lewis expected to be back with the big club, could play tonight. I saw him play Friday night in his rehab assignment game, struck out on 3 pitches, popped up to second base.
Well, you saw something similar on Sunday night. You're not special.
He grounded out in his third at-bat, and he didn't run very hard. Because I'm sure he didn't want to pop a hamstring or strain or whatever in a meaningless game. But he's sort of following that Buxton trend where highly regarded, he was the number 1 prospect in baseball for the longest time, but he cannot stay healthy. When he has played, especially early on, he was electrifying. He was terrific, but he can't stay healthy either.
Yeah. 0 for 8 over the weekend series, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. He came back from the moderately strained hamstring a couple months ago. He had like a 2-week rehab assignment. He did not do well during that 2-week rehab assignment, partly because a lot of those games were rained out, so he didn't get as much time in as was. But the thought process at that time was like, he doesn't need to, because he had already come back from a number of rehab assignments, and he, had a history of like homering in the first game or immediately hitting the ground running to get to Major League Baseball. Well, that kind of evaporated earlier this season. He had a brutal stretch to begin his 2025 season, to the point where he had a couple of 0 for 30 slumps, like back-to-back 0 for 30 slumps for a while. And then finally, over the last, 9-10 games in which he was playing, he came back around, finally got his batting average over 200, and then popped a hamstring again running to first base. I'm Not on the one hand, I'm a little surprised they're not letting him have a little bit more time in St. Paul because they seem to want to do that. On the other hand, I'm not surprised at all that they don't want him in St. Paul. They're looking for help.
Yeah.
And, even though that didn't work earlier this season, they called him up when, he'd been struggling at St. Paul and he continued to struggle in the majors. I think they just think, is Jonah Bride going to help out this team much, or is Royce Lewis going to help out this team? Now, turns out Jonah Bride isn't going to lose at bats to Royce Lewis. He's just being dropped from the roster. Mm-hmm. People who are going to lose at bats to Royce Lewis are Clemens, Cody Clemens, and maybe Willie Castro, maybe Harrison Bader, etc. Like you're going to just see a few those guys in the lineup a little bit less than they normally would be, but. I think I think their thought process is if he's not great this week, okay, we'll get him warmed up to the point by the time we get back from the All-Star break, we've got him going. And the Twins have, a 3-game set versus Miami. That's probably, it might also be they'd rather have him playing indoors in Miami where the environment's a little more controlled than Gwinnett, Georgia, which is where the Saints are on the road this week. And it might also be that their thought of, Miami's not a bad place to get started for trying to find your stroke again. They've got Pittsburgh coming to Target Field in a couple weeks, a little over a week. Maybe that would provide him a jump start. We'll have to see. It's been a lost season for Royce Lewis so far, and we'll have to see if he can turn it around.
There were a couple of other recognizable faces playing for the Saints, Miranda and Julian, Julian had the game winner.
Yep.
Again, these are two guys that were expected to be mainstays in the Twins lineup, and they've proven they're big league ball players. But they've had trouble staying with the club. Do you have any idea in the near future could either one be called back up?
So Jose Miranda has been lost all season. Yeah. He was the first one sent down when things were struggling in April, and it was deservedly so. He not only was not hitting, he just wasn't making contact on a regular basis. Julian did stick around, I think, probably till middle of May or beginning of May at least, and he had showed some promising signs of kind of being back to the player he was back in 2023, but not enough. Now, Julian's heated up. In St. Paul, he has been really good for the month of June. Very good. To the point where I wondered, could he find room back on this roster? I mean, the question is who exactly are you dropping or giving less playing time so that Julian can kind of reestablish himself?
Can't be Brooks Lee. Brooks Lee is I like him.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It can't be Brooks Lee. I mean, look around the infield, right? You're not going to give Brooks Lee time, or you're not going to give Correa time. I think the odd man out might have been Cody Clemens, but Cody Clemens is still got. I mean, he's been pretty bad in June, but he's got an 800 OPS for the team overall. Ty France over at first base. Trevor Larnach at DH. I mean, Julian isn't so dominant at AAA that you're like, we've got to get him up here and find room for him. He's going to push somebody else off. And they just haven't had that sort of error or that sort of room in the infield. And now, by the way, you added Royce Lewis to that mix as well, who you're also not going to replace. So we will see. I think Julian's time is dependent on the guys above him either getting hurt or, falling apart.
Any in this sale of the club, I mean, they still intend to sell it, or so they say, but there's nothing on the front there because apparently they're asking too much money, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's that's my impression. 3 weeks ago, we basically heard that, they've got people who are interested, like people who come and kick the tires on it. People have visited the Twins, blah, blah, blah. But, for all of the, claims that, no, there's people still interested beyond the Ishbias. Well, now it's another 3 weeks past that report, 4 weeks past that report. We're not hearing any rumors on anything. I think it's, they were priced at, and by the way, we also heard of another Major League Baseball team that is selling for $1.7 billion, and that's the Tampa Rays, who don't have a stadium. And it's hard to believe that anybody wants to pay $1.7 billion for them, but maybe a Florida businessman wants to have the hometown team. It might be as simple as, you sell a house and you put the price at, $450, nobody's interested. If you drop it to $400, everybody's interested.
Sure.
And at 1.7, which is reportedly the price they were asking for, maybe nobody's interested. At 1.4, maybe everybody's interested. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, last question I have for you on this opener role that teams will do now.
Yep,
On occasion. And I think it's because, and I've talked about this the past week or so, brought it up a couple of times, where the statistics do seem to show your sabermetrics and analytics that for every 3 innings, when your starter faces the lineup, for the first time through the order, the batting average, these aren't the numbers, but let's say it's 200.
Sure.
Then the next time through, it's like 236.
Sure.
Then the next time through, it's like 274. So it's like, well, the longer they go, they figure the pitcher out or retires or whatever the case may be. So in an effort to prevent your starter, like your David Festas of the world, of seeing that same lineup 3 times through, they put an opener out there. You hope he gets through the first inning. This way, when it gets through that 3rd time in the lineup, they will not have seen it that many times. Is that the strategy? Do you like it? Do you think it works? Do you think it's just you're covering up for starters that really just aren't very good yet or can't go the numbers are there, but I don't know how much I believe them.
It's an interesting strategy, especially for somebody like, say, Simeon Woods Richardson, right? So Simeon Woods Richardson, the problem is by the time he gets the 3rd time through the lineup, if you started, the best hitters are at the top of the lineup, right? So your first 4 times you're facing somebody 3rd time through the lineup, you're facing their best hitters. And the idea behind an opener is that, by the time you get through the lineup the 3rd time, you're facing the bottom of the lineup because you didn't have to face those top hitters in the first inning. You faced them once, you faced them twice, and now you're facing the bottom guys 3 times in a row. So maybe you get an extra inning out of that. Another way to play it is that, maybe if you have a left-handed opener versus a right-handed starter, and you followed up with a right-handed starter, well, the other team might have a couple pretty good left-handed hitters batting 1st and 3rd or something like that. And if you start them out with a left-handed reliever, okay, well, maybe you neutralize some of their better hitters early on, and now the right-handed starter can get to the rest of the right-handers. Do I think it's worth it? I mean, the statistics show that it's probably a little bit of an advantage. I think the Twins' attitude towards it is it's kind of a lot of hassle to do that, and it's not necessarily that much more effective one way or the other. So they've only done it twice so far this year. Do
a lot of teams do it, or is it a?
I know the Twins haven't faced it very much.
Okay.
When we have seen it for the Twins, it's often sometimes where they're playing a game like, versus say the Twins are facing a left-handed starter, like yesterday with Skubal. Well, they load the lineup with right-handed hitters. So sometimes if you've got sort of a mediocre left-handed starter opposing them, and you've loaded the lineup with right-handed hitters, well, then maybe they start with a right-handed opener.
Yeah.
Try and neutralize that a little bit. Like, we're going to have the advantage for as long as we can keep this right-handed reliever in there for a while, and then we'll throw the left-hander out there at you.
Now, where else can people find out? Because you're everywhere.
Sure.
Gleeman and the Geek and Twins Daily and everything. Give your plugs. That's what
TwinsDaily.com. Please stop by. If you follow the Twins Daily, you should be following Twins Daily.
Right.
And Gleeman and the Geek, GleemanandtheGeek.com for the free podcast, patreon.com/Gleeman. We also just started a YouTube channel. If you want to check out, see the gorgeous visage of John Bonus and Aaron Gleeman on YouTube. You're going to be able to check that out. We also have lots of little clips every day from the various podcasts that we've done. So, check all that stuff out and check out TwinsDaily.com.
Yeah, and deep dive, obviously, on the Twins, but also Major League Baseball in general, right? Trends, comings, goings, winnings, losings, that whole thing.
All of the above. And we've also got, if you're a fan of some of the other teams, BrewerFanatic.com, Northside Baseball if you're a Cubs fan, etc. So
sweet. Thanks again for joining us. We do always appreciate it. It's great to have you. Yep, great stuff from John Bonus as always. Tenneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
And you as well. We enjoyed our visit with you today. Tomorrow, LaBelle E. Neal will be our 2 o'clock guest. Superstar Mike Morris on Wednesday. Thursday, Michael Russo. And speaking of Michael Russo, he is in next for Dan Barrero. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 noon. Enjoy the rest of your day and stick around. Russo next.
The spotlight, young man. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. When we were deciding on our appliances for the house, Samsung was at the top of our list. And I love my Samsung appliances, especially because They're so reliable, and with my busy schedule, having reliable appliances has been a game changer. It's no wonder Samsung is the #1 brand for customer satisfaction. That's why I'm excited to tell you all about Samsung's new line of smart appliances featuring their brand new bespoke AI laundry combo. This incredible magic machine washes and dries in one machine, one load, no transfers, no timers, no rewashing needed. New bespoke AI appliances. This is home living made simple. For more information, visit samsung.com/bespoke.
68-minute cycle based on 27-inch combos, based on using a super speed cycle only with a 10-pound DOE load, cotton 50% plus polyester 50%. Individual results may vary based on actual load content.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors. For the next era of gaming, upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Saks Off 5th, up to 70% off every day. Summer is in full swing here at Saks Off 5th with so many exciting trends to try. From matching sets and floral dresses to wide leg jeans and chic accessories, find all of this season's must-have styles. Plus, shop new designer arrivals weekly. Find Gucci, Valentino Garavani, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available July 17th. Rated everyone 10 and up. Only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.